Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing our Jeskai control deck once again, and this time we are running up against Bogles, which deck I haven't seen for a while. So this is our opener. We have a couple of Spreading Seas, a Mana Leak, and the Snapcaster Mage. Not the most exciting of hands, but yeah, not bad. Against an unknown opponent, I can see running with this. So I guess we'll just lead with a Colonnade, given that we don't have any 1-mana spells. Horizon Canopy leads into a Glade Cover Scout. We are going to Spreading Seas the Horizon Canopy, which is a fairly good deal for us. Obviously, means you can't cash it in later, and obviously it's probably not running a ton of lands in Bogles, just because it's basically run off all 1-mana and 2-mana spells. So that could make life more difficult for him. Make it more difficult for him to cast things like Daybreak Coronet, etc. So in general, seems like a fairly good play, depending on how many more lands he has coming. But yeah, definitely some value in putting that on the Horizon Canopy, given that prevents him cashing it in or whatever. So he follows up with the Plains and Hyena Umbra, which he's going to use to attack me for 2. I'm going to follow up with another Spreading Seas, which actually draws us into a third copy of Spreading Seas, funnily enough. So yeah, fairly good position again. He's not going to do a whole lot with those islands. As I say, most of his cards are 1-mana green or white spells, so those islands won't do him a whole lot of good, so we can potentially see him off a lot of the things. Unfortunately, he has the Razor Verge Thicket to follow up, which only lets him play a Spider Umbra though, so not the worst situation in the world. Opponent's going to attack us for 3 and put us down to 13. So we do need to have some sort of attack back, really. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of that going on at the moment. So we're going to Spreading Seas of Razor Verge Thicket. Hopefully that will put us in a pretty bad position, but we do obviously need an answer because our opponent is going to be able to outrace us here. Unless we start putting some pressure on, so I think we're just going to bolt him into the dome to start getting some damage in on our side of things. We're drawing to Lightning Helix, which is obviously very good for us. Pretty much negates one of his attacks while also dealing damage to our opponent. And potentially we can go for a Snapcaster Bolt here, or Snapcaster Helix maybe. Make sure that our life total keeps growing if we were prepared to wait. Plays a Horizon Canopy, he's going to end up taking the pain, so he can cast the Ethereal Armor there. Unfortunately, that's beyond Mana Leak range, so there's not a lot we can do about that. So we're going to take 6 here, I think. And then we are going to probably Helix our opponent. Put us up to 7. Draw into Restoration Angel, which is pretty nice. We're going to be taking 6 down to 1, and then I'm going to Snapcaster Helix, so we can go back up to 4. And then we can do some sort of block trickery with the Restoration Angel and the Snapcaster Mage. Follow that up with Scout doesn't have trample, so that allows us a bit of a window. There's Path to Exile, which is not particularly good. Our opponent tries to path our Snapcaster here, which is going to prompt me to use my Restoration Angel early, but either way we get to save it from the path, and we can set up a Lightning Bolt to our opponent's face, which puts our opponent down to 5. That's pretty good. Our opponent drops a Dryad Arbor, which is a vague nuisance, but decides not to attack then, based on his current position. Kind of in the driver's seat here, I guess, but obviously worried about something like a Daybreak Coronet or the like. We pick up a Serum Visions, which we're going to use. We've seen Electrolyze and a Steam Vent, so I think we're going to keep the Electrolyze on top. Certainly don't want that land, so we're just going to bottom that. We could have activated the Colonnade there, which would have been the strategy if had he just attacked with the Glade Cover Stout. We'd have probably just blocked with the Snapcaster Mage, attacked with the Colonnade, and that would have finished off our opponent, hopefully. But as it is, I think we're better off just holding back, and I just decided to use that Serum Visions to dig a little bit deeper. We also have double Mana Leak here, which should hopefully answer any potential spells that he has. He has the Windswept Heath here, finds a Temple Garden, which he uses to make double white, along with his Horizon Canopy going all the way down to 1 for the benefit of this this Daybreak Coronet. But as I say, we were able to double Mana Leak that, and then obviously we get that Electrolyze that we kept on top from the Serum Visions the following turn, which is enough to finish off our opponent, as he had to go down to 1 there. So yeah, that worked out pretty nicely for us. It was a fairly close run thing, but we did manage to just eke that out, fortunately. And yeah, we played a lot of Spreading Seas that game, to fairly good effect, has to be said. Let's go on to game 2. So this is our initial opener. Spell Snare, Serum Visions, Cryptic, Electrolyze, Resto, and the Helix. It's a reasonable hand, slightly risky keep. I suppose we're on the draw. Can't remember if I keep this. Yeah, we end up mulliganing it. Just think it's a little bit too risky. Bolt Helix and Restoration Angel is not the best of hands against Bogles, but I suppose it is keepable. So yeah, we end up keeping that. We see Serum Visions on top, which I am happy to keep there. Hopefully we can dig into something a bit more. Our opponent leads off with just a Dryad Arbor, which is just a little bit too tempting to bolt that. Seems like a kind of an odd land to start off with if you have multiple lands. If he didn't have another land, then he ends up drawing into Wooded Foothills, luckily for him. So he can drop the Slippery Boggle there. Front Wind Gate, which is something we brought in from the sideboard. Oh yeah, I suppose we should probably discuss some sideboarding tactics here. Here we just going to Serum Visions, we see Blade Splicer on the land. I think we end up bombing the land and keeping the Blade Splicer on top. A 3/3 First Striker is fairly formidable and might be able to hold off one of his guys with any luck. But yeah, let's just discuss sideboarding quickly. We aren't particularly well set up against Bogles, really. In general, Cryptic Command is a really good card against Bogles in general, as you can tap down their creatures and then get in for a load of damage. But unfortunately this deck is not very Cryptic Command heavy. Can be a bit slow though as well. But yeah, in general I think cards we don't want Dispel. He's not got a lot of instants beyond Path to Exile, so I don't think we're particularly worried about that. Spell Snare's still good. Path to Exile, not particularly useful. But I didn't want to get rid of all of them. I think we kept one in, but we probably took the other 2 out. The only thing you have to be wary of is Core Spirit Dancer, which is obviously a card that they can play, which isn't hexproof. And obviously Path to Exile is a good answer to that. So, but yeah, you still got your bolts and your lightning helixes, so maybe it's right just to take all of those out. But I ended up taking out 2 and keeping 1 in for a sort of just in case. In terms of stuff we're bringing in, the Tension Sphere is fairly decent. Obviously if he puts they put double of any aura out, we can get rid of that. But just in general, it's a card that can exile an aura from one of their guys. And yeah, I mean, Daybreak Coronet is a classic example of the one you want to get rid of. So yeah, bringing in the Detention Spheres. Geist is not great, I don't think, but maybe you want to bring those in, not too sure. Helixes for pass, I think, is probably the right way to go. And yeah, negate over Dispel, I think is probably a good idea. Anything else you really want to take out? Spreading Seas is still decent, as it proved in the first game. So yeah, I mean, I think the main things you want to be looking to take out are Dispel for sure, and probably the Path to Exiles, and then bringing in some combination of Detention Spheres, the Lightning Helix, and Negate. So yeah, back to the game. That's a brief interlude. The opponent's got Slippery Boggle, he's got another land to play, so he's dropping a Hyena Umbra, which is fine. Followed up by a Rancor, which is less fine. So he's going to be able to attack 4 here, putting us down to 14. Which isn't a great position to be in. We draw into the Blade Splicer, but which, yeah. But I think I'm looking here just to keep up the Electrolyze. I mean, sorry, to keep up the Negate to avoid end the game then and there. As it turns out, we just end up playing another Slippery Boggle. We've still got stuff to do, so we can Electrolyze here and hopefully find our 4th land, but as it works out, we do not do that. So we're passing turn again here. Again, we're looking to negate something, but if not, we probably just Helix end of turn, gain 3 life back, and see where we go from there. We'll play the Spirit Dancer, which is one of the cards I was somewhat concerned about. So we are going to use the Snapcaster here. Just going to be able to get back the Bolt and kill off the Spirit Dancer. We're probably just going to trade with the other Slippery Boggle, just because it's going to become a nuisance over time, I think. Not much point blocking the other guy, as he has trample, so we're not really saving ourselves. Not a whole lot to do here. I decided to drop the Blade Splicer as a sort of potential way to sort of trade off with his Slippery Boggle. But as it is, he has a Spirit Mantle, which gives him protection from creatures. And yeah, that wraps that one up, but we're on 4 life, so there wasn't too much we could have done there to prevent that. Maybe the Blade Splicer was a wrong play, but we needed to kind of do something to force the board. And yeah, if we managed to get our Blade Splicers, you know, blinking Blade Splicers with these Restoration Angels and having a lot of first striking golems in the way of this Slippery Boggle, that would be a fairly solid situation, so that's kind of what I was going for there. Unfortunately, Spirit Mantle undid that, but yeah, I think there was potentially a way back in this game that could have come about, but didn't end up coming about, unfortunately, thanks to the Spirit Mantle. So on to game 3. Okay, so we have a Path to Exile, a Lightning Bolt, a Mana Leak, and 4 lands. Not ideal. Path to Exile again, one of the cards we were taking out. I ended up keeping 1 copy in, But maybe we should have just taken them all out. But I suppose there's nothing else we particularly want it to be. I suppose a detention sphere or something like that would have been better, but I think I end up keeping this. It's not bad. We've got the mana leak to counter like an early spell. We've got the bolt to deal with like a core spirit dancer if it happens to come down. Otherwise, it's just more damage to the face. If it comes to a race. For a blade splicer, which is pretty nice. Quite like that situation. Going to play the Hallowed Phantom untapped here, so we've got the mana leak ready to go. Opponent goes for a Hyena Umbra, doesn't play a land, although he may follow up with a land and a Rancor or something like that, but I'm fairly content with countering that. First Strike's kind of annoying in general, and him not having First Strike makes this Blade Splicer a lot better, so I'm fairly happy to counter that. He runs that out, and a Dryad Arbor is his follow-up. So we've got a bit of a position here. We either bolt the Dryad Arbor, which is very tempting as it's there, and it obviously limits the amount of mana he has, which is the decision I end up going, or we could have just run out the Blade Splicer there and then. But I'm fairly happy with that. This makes his mana a lot more problematic for him. He definitely seems to be struggling on mana. So he only ends up sticking a high number on the following turn and passing the turn back to us. So yeah, I feel fairly... Word open for some reason. I accidentally clicked that earlier. So my laptop is very slow at the moment. Not particularly enjoying this. Okay, so on the following turn our opponent hooks up a Spirit Link to his Slippery Boggle, and that kind of prevents us from attacking. We could attack, but he would then just crack back for 2, and there's not a lot we can do about that. It's kind of... So we'd only be doing like 1 damage, and at the same time our life point will be going down and we wouldn't be getting anything out of it, so yeah, we don't feel great about the position. I suppose we could have detention sphered the Spirit Link, or I suppose the Hyena Umbra, and just seen where that had gone. I'm kind of trying to keep the detention sphere for something big that you might have. Detention sphere in that, like the Hyena Umbra, and then him having a Daybreak Coronet or something like that would be pretty devastating. And our detention sphere is really our only answer at the moment to any potential aura or anything. So yeah, we're kind of in a bit of a standoff situation, but it's I think that favours us. We've got 2 colonnades on board as well, so eventually we can sort of start attacking with those potentially, and just kind of ignoring his Boggle. But obviously the more time goes on, the more we run the risk of him finding a Daybreak Coronet or something else, which makes his Boggle that much bigger, that much scarier, and that more difficult to deal with. So we cast Serum Visions, we draw an Electrolyze, we see Spreading Seas and a Mountain on top. I think I keep Spreading Seas and the Mountain on top. I think Spreading Seas using Spreading Seas on the Razor Verge Thicket would probably be fairly good. We could do it on the Horizon Canopy, but I imagine he would sack it in response and draw a card, so I think, you know, that could potentially be very good, particularly if we want to prevent a Daybreak Coronet coming down. Also, it just draws an extra card, which draws into a land, which then we can play, and then we're that much closer to attacking with these Celestial Colonnade. So yeah, standoff position, kind of tense, but I feel like we're in a better position to deal with that kind of situation in general, but obviously we don't have Wraths in this deck or anything, so we're not in perfect position. So Electrolyze on the turn. I'm just going to pass the Blade Splicer, which Obviously makes our golem lose first strike, which is a little frustrating, but we can live with that. At the moment, we're still able to block and kill his guy, so he's not exactly able to attack freely. So we get our land, we get to electrolyze. Oh yeah, something you need to be aware of. I was aware of it here, but I did it anyway. Obviously, because we'd kept some cards on top with the Serum Visions. If you get past and you search up the land, then obviously you shuffle your deck and you don't get the cards on top. So I don't draw the Spreading Seas that I'd left on top. But I'm okay with that. The Spreading Seas wasn't that big a deal. Obviously, we're going to get the basic land just straight into play, so I'm not too worried about losing the mountain that was second from top. So yeah, I'm kind of okay with that situation. In general, Spreading Seas would have been fine and nice, but it wasn't essential, and I'm not too worried about it. So we draw a Mana Leak. This kind of frees us up to use the Snapcaster a bit more effectively, potentially. I kind of wanted to use it and get a bit more aggressive, but at the same time, I'm just worried about what he can play. Again, Daybreak Coronet being the big concern. So drawing a Mana Leak here kind of frees us up a little bit, potentially, to use that Snapcaster. I'm not sure if that's what we do here. I think our opponent's still on 18 life, so still a little bit difficult. So yeah, I didn't end up using the Snapcaster there, but yeah, it's like I say, we're in a bit of a standoff situation. It's kind of difficult to know when to blink and when not to. So Serum Visions here finds another land. We're going to bottom the second land. Might end up keeping the Bolt on top. Probably keep the Bolt just so we can continue to pressure its life total. And yeah, he must be drawing into stuff, but he's certainly not drawing to lands. So that's definitely good for us. Meanwhile, we are drawing into lands, and we've got quite a few at this point in time, so we can probably soon start activating the Colonnade and still have like a Mana Leak up, which seems pretty good. Our opponent's going to try and cast an Ethereal Armor, which we're definitely not interested in seeing from him, so we're just going to counter that away. Draw that Lightning Bolt that we saw earlier. Still not attacking just yet. Though our opponent goes for a Rancor again. Not really wanting to see that out of our opponent, so I think we're going to go for the Snapcaster Mana Leak here. I kind of feel like I'm being set up for something a lot worse, which I believe is true. It turns out to be true. But at the same time, I can't really afford for it to be sticking those cards either. If it wasn't for Spirit Link, I wouldn't be so worried about the Rancor so much, but him getting 4 life and getting to hit us pretty hard is not something I particularly want to do. And in general, he seems to be sort of slowly stalling, so seems good for us, at least at the moment, to just be doing that. And I think we're going to probably start getting in with our Colonnade now. Obviously now we don't have counters up anyway, then it becomes a better situation for us to start attacking with the Colonnade. Unfortunately our opponent has Path here for the first Colonnade, so obviously just going to be trading that in for another land, and so that doesn't work out the best for us. It's kind of interesting he had Path and he didn't use it on the Golem. Maybe it was a recent draw, or maybe he just wasn't that interested in getting rid of our Golem. But if I was him, I certainly would be. So he follows up with a Daybreak Coronet, which obviously was something we were worried about. Fortunately, we do have the Detention Sphere to sort that situation out, but he's going to gain 10 life here, I think, because Spirit Link doesn't count as Life Link, so it like works on the old wording of Life Link, so you can get like double Life Link going by using Spirit Link. Unfortunately, it's only 5. It could have been a lot worse, but it's still pretty painful to see your opponent go up 10 points in his life total. But yeah, we do have the answer for that, so that's good. But our Spirit Mantle, which means he can now start attacking beyond our guys. So we are just in a race situation now, and possibly not one we're particularly favoured to win, but we do have double Helix, which is a nice 6-point life swing, and he's only attacking for 3, so that's fairly good, and it just means we can go all in. He will be getting 3 life every time he attacks, but that's balanced out by the fact that we have a golem, and we can attack for 6. So we are going to double Helix here. Obviously picks up our life total, drops down his a little, and we are going to attack. So go all in here. So yeah, we're still a difficult position. Obviously, if he draws anything of particular interest, we're going to be in a tough position. Unfortunately, we didn't see anything off that Sim Visions because my computer is going so slow. But I don't think there's anything particularly exciting there. Let's draw to pause, unfortunately. So our opponent starts crowding the board with his other hexproof guys who aren't doing a whole lot for him, but obviously can turn into little chump blockers for him. Let's see if we can see that. Serum Vision's decision. Oh, so we did keep something on. Oh, it looks like we kept Mana. Yeah, we kept a Mana Leak on top, so we saw Mana Leak land off that Serum Visions. We ended up keeping the Mana Leak on top. He's still only got 3 lands, despite this being like 10-13. So Mana Leak's still fairly decent. Again, probably thinking about countering a Coronet or something. Really anything huge that can, anything that can make this Slippery Boggle huge, because then we're just pretty much dead at that point. So yeah, happy to see Mana Leak. So we're just going to get in here again. Obviously he's going to have some blockers now, unfortunately. Oh, he has Mana Leak for the Colonnade, but yeah, fortunately that Mana Leak, I mean he has a path, but we have the Mana Leak to deal with that. So fortunately we are going to be able to keep our Colonnade. If we didn't, we would have basically just lost there and then, so really, really good to have the Mana Leak ready to go in that situation. So we're going to get to attack. Obviously 4 is going to go over the top. Probably just going to chump the Golem and trade with the Snapcaster. It's not an ideal situation for us, but because his creatures are hexproof, there's nothing really we can do about that. So we're going to be able to knock him down to 8. So we're still doing okay in this race, but obviously we're kind of waiting with bated breath to see whether he actually has like any other aura to add on to his Slippery Boggle. It's pretty bad news for us basically, but he's down very low on cards. Cashing in his Horizon Canopy, presumably just looking for that next aura that he needs, but doesn't find anything, which is good for us, other than another land by the looks of things. So we're going to 5 here, and then he drops us Core Spirit Dancer, which finally gives us a use for this Path to Exile, which we are just going to cash in straight off here. Get rid of that. We draw Cryptic Command, which is awesome, and we actually do have enough lands to activate Colonnade, attack with both our guys, and have Cryptic Mana up. So that is pretty awesome. So basically we just want to stop on tap on all his guys. prevent it from getting any life, and then we can kill him on the crackback. Obviously we want to see if he's going to try and play anything before then. As it turns out, he actually drew the Daybreak Coronet, so we are going to be able to counter that and then tap down this guy and attack with both our guys to finish him off. We could have instead, we could have counter draw there instead, but obviously that leaves us at risk that if somehow his last card is something that could kill us, then obviously we're in a difficult position there. But given that he's had one card in his hand for a long time, I imagine it is not anything particularly exciting. So yeah, it passes the turn back. We end up with a Snapcaster Mage, so I think that pretty much wraps up everything fairly nicely. Even if he was able to deal with one of these, like his last card was a Path, then he'd still end up dead to the a Snapcaster Bolt or whatever with the remaining cards that we have available. So yeah, really tight game, but a whole lot of fun from my perspective at least. Yeah, we managed to pick up the win in the end after some very tense games.